Well, hello, everybody. Let me straighten that out. There we go. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. Welcome to the show. I am here. Garrett is here. Hello, Garrett.
Howdy.
3G's in the house. What's up, Greg Henson?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing okay. Shit weekend.
Why?
Well, my Niners look like shit. My Lions look like shit. My Wolverines look like shit. Like it's early. My former president was shot at again. Like it was a strange weekend, weird, not good.
No, it sucked. I don't try. Well, the Michigan game, first of all.
You want to start with the Michigan game?
Well, just one thing.
Yeah, because I have questions there.
It was 28-3 with 5 minutes to go, and they put in backups. I mean, it wasn't like, they scored 2 late touchdowns. Everyone freaks out.
Well, I didn't even care about that. I wasn't even watching anymore. I didn't care. The team looks abysmal to me, honestly. Michigan, they look abysmal. Yes, offensively. It's offensive how bad they look. And, why don't we start with that? We'll get to the Trump gunman and all that shit in a little bit. The Lions, I'm not as worried about. Some questions there. What a game for Hutch, by the way. But Michigan has come out, no shock. My brother and I were talking about this during the game, and named Alex Gangbang the starter for week 4. Alex Orgy. I always screw up his name. I'm sorry. I do that every time. So they're going to take on number 11 USC. I don't know much about USC this season. They lost their big shot quarterback as well.
Yeah, but Miller Moss played against LSU, and I don't know how good he is because LSU almost lost again this weekend to South Carolina. So,
yeah,
who knows?
Yeah, who knows? All I can do is watch Michigan on the field, played a real team in Texas, and looked like absolute garbage. And the problem isn't, can the defense do that? Michigan's defense will be fine. They'll get better as the season goes on. I'm not worried about that. If you don't have a competent, solid quarterback, your team just isn't very good. And, with Alex Orgy, one of the things I was reading, they're talking about how, he's a dual threat. And I'm like, well, okay.
Not if you can't throw.
Not if you can't throw. And what does that mean? If you eliminate one of the threats in a dual threat situation, they just key in on the other. And then I read this thing, and I'm sure you know this. I didn't know this. In high school, he completed 51% of his passes. That's at the high school level. Now, I don't know if that's a deceiving stat. I don't know how that could be, but I read that and went, oh no, here's
the
problem.
Thing. You bring a guy in like Orgy, they told he was just like Joe Milton. They brought him in and said, this guy's a project. Now they're trying to sell him as a starter after 2 years. It's not going to happen. He's not better than Davis Warren, or he would have been in there.
Duh.
I mean, that's what I don't get. I think their only hope is that Tuttle can play. That guy's got 14 years of experience as a college quarterback. He's a 7th-year player. I mean, oh
my God.
I think that would be their only chance at quarterback this year.
Tuttle has been there that long. He looks young.
Well, he was at Indiana first. Transferred
okay.
into Michigan 3 years ago, and was a little bit of a gunslinger, but injuries. And I actually thought he would win the job, but he got hurt.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think there's any potential there? I mean, do you think like if healthy, he could outright?
Maybe from the limited amount I've seen him. I was impressed with him in some garbage time that I saw him at Indiana when he was a freshman and sophomore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's a better bet than any of them because apparently they're not going to give Jaden Davis a shot this year. The true freshman, which I don't understand. It's freshmen start every year.
Yeah, especially in this league where these guys are gone after 2 seasons. Like you don't have the luxury of getting 4 years out of these guys, 5-year, 5th-year seniors. And how often do we see it too, where a guy at a smaller university who's maybe not going on to play on Sundays, probably isn't going on to play on Sundays, but you go, oh shit, we're facing a senior or a 5th-year senior, and you go, I don't give a shit who they are. They're in the game.
Yeah.
They're in Indiana with a fifth year senior or a senior is a problem.
Yeah,
see it all
I mean,
the time.
anytime you get a senior quarterback, it's a good thing. I don't know, man. I don't know how you fix this problem in the middle of a season. Sharon Moore is a bad coach. You're seeing that every week. Mistakes are being made. You're seeing that a guy who didn't hit the portal for a quarterback, and don't tell me he couldn't, because he picked up 5 other transfers, but didn't think he needed a quarterback, which is stupid. The play calling is atrocious. I don't know what Wink's doing out there. They rotate guys in nonsensically. I mean, it's very obvious who the best center is, which is the captain of your offensive line. And they're rotating Jadis and Crippen, which Crippen's clearly the better of the two. He came in, they walked right down the field and scored a touchdown against Arkansas State. So I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. Frankly, I don't care. They won the national title. I'm good for about a decade. You know what I mean?
Yep. I know exactly what you mean. I'm glad they finally put a bow on that. It's one thing, to get there. Oh, we got to the playoff. That's cute. That's great. Oh, we made it to the championship game. That's cute. To get it done is the ultimate, and that's what matters. It's what people will hopefully what people remember in 20 years. That used to be the case, but I don't know if that'll matter down the road as this just becomes another pro league.
That's what I mean. I've lost a lot of interest. It really annoyed me when they hired Sharon Moore without interviewing anyone else for the job. This is what happens when you have a boner. You make bad decisions, and they had a national championship. Look at Garrett looked over and said, "Boner,
what?" I'm in.
They won a national title. Everyone was completely turgid. And they just handed the job to Sharon Moore. This is what happens. It's their own fault. It's so stupid. We've seen this before. And
is this a virtue signal thing? Does this check something off the list? Like, hey, we've hired our first African American head coach in program history. Is there any of that going on?
I do
not to make it about race.
Ward is into that though, because I saw. When Mel Tucker got his big contract up at Michigan State, Ward loved it because it was a guy because he thought it was a good thing. And I'm like, number one, you shouldn't be focused on anything that's going on up at State if you're Ward Manuel. And number two, I don't care about the skin color of anybody.
Right.
Makes zero difference to me. But
None.
It might be, how Michigan is. But that he's not just if he was a virtue signal hire, then it still doesn't matter because they'll still fire his ass. This is Juwan Howard all over again.
Right. You just hate to even have the conversation like that would have anything to do with anything.
Right.
I mean, the idea
he seems like a good dude. But I don't care how nice you are. You got to win there. And he got the job with no interviews for anybody else. They didn't call Brian Kelly. They didn't call anyone.
Right.
I know it was late in the game, but that's on Ward too. He should have known Harbaugh was leaving.
Of course.
How did he not know?
Yeah. No, it seemed pretty obvious, and it seems like there would be more things in place, like a plan. Quarterback is the one that drives me nuts, and it's exhausting how often. My brother and I, stupid idiots in watching on TV, can see stuff like you could see from Tom Brady rookie season, preseason, like, there's something there when he went to New England, like whether he was going to take over for the $100 million contract, Drew Bledsoe, you didn't know. And you're going back 25 years now, but still you could see something there. I remember my brother adamantly going, "That's your guy, Brock Purdy." In the preseason, in the limited snaps he got, we were saying from day one, Trey Lance is not your guy. It's not your guy. Not at this level. Like day one, I was excited when they drafted him. Like, okay, they must know something I don't know. I haven't followed North Dakota State. I don't have any idea. I saw him play his first game, and I was just like, oh yeah, no, that's never going to translate on this level. Never. And my brother was saying from preseason game one, like, there's something about that Brock Purdy kid. There's something about that 4-year starter from Iowa State that has that Tom Brady game to him. Looked like shit yesterday, but still, the point is well received. Orgy, I see 51% at like that. That's a classic case of, you were just a much, much more superior athlete to everyone around you. And then
Yes.
as the talent grows in the league around you, what do? Like,
he's not even a great runner. I mean, I see him out there with the ball.
no.
He's this isn't Denard Robinson. People are just they're taking copious amounts of hopium because this is not Denard Robinson. He's not that same level of runner. It's just a guy who's got a little bit of athleticism. He shouldn't be starting at Michigan. He's being forced into it because, I mean, they left themselves naked. But I mean, you saw him sail that touchdown pass over Freddie Moore's head in the game. I mean, it's like, here we go again.
Yeah.
Can't hit the long ball. So,
and don't you think Orgy? I mean, we've seen guys transition and be great tight ends, go from that. Like, I'm sure he's an athlete. His family is all athletes, I think. They have backgrounds in pro sports. So, like, he's probably got the genes for it. Like,
maybe.
Why, I mean, could he be a tight end? Where we've seen that. I'm trying, names are
Jay Remersma.
Jay Remersma. There you go. Yeah, guys that could play. Denard Robinson is a good example. Like maybe even Desmond Howard at some point. Was he always a receiver and quarter? Was he a quarterback in high school though?
Oh, I don't know about high school. When he got to Michigan, he was always a receiver.
Yeah. Well, it's you see 2 touchdown passes and 6 picks for Davis Warren. You're like, yeah. Just wait till the actual schedule starts.
It wasn't even the picks that bothered me the most. It was skipping the ball.
Yeah.
It was, like, because I don't always know who the pick's on. Like, I don't know where the receiver is supposed to be because I don't hear the call. But
yeah.
But so I don't know. But he had a couple of nice balls too. Here's my prediction. I bet you he's back in the game at some point against USC.
Davis Warren.
I think you'll see them. Come on, man. They're afraid to let Orgy throw the ball at all.
Oh, yeah. He's thrown 7 passes, I think, in a Michigan uniform. Like that, that should tell you everything. Most of them are screen passes.
And Sherron Moore wants to do smash, but shocker, you got the wrong running back in the game and your line's no good. How did Michigan get left with a bad offensive line?
I don't know. I mean, everyone's going to blame it on, 13 guys left this team to go pro. But, that Alabama never used that as an excuse.
Ohio State doesn't use
Georgia, Ohio. Yeah, exactly.
This is the worst defense of a national title I think you'll see in a while.
Yeah. Do you think it gets much worse through the season?
Do you think 5 or 6 games if they can't beat, if they're going to struggle against bad teams, if they win the games they're supposed to win and lose the ones they're supposed to lose, they're going to lose 4 games.
Yeah.
If we're back to the Hoke days, one slip up and now you're at 7-5.
Yeah. What is it going to take to get into the the tournament, if you will, now that it's expanded 12 games? 3 losses? Will 3-loss team get in?
Depends. You got it. Because they would have upset someone to get those 3 losses. So if you beat Ohio State, Oregon, or USC, and then you win out, you'll get in.
Right.
You can lose 2 more games and still be somewhat comfortable getting in. Otherwise, you're out.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I see upsetting anyone with this quarterback situation.
No, it just looks so bad, and I don't know what's coming up behind it. I just don't pay that much attention.
Jaden Davis, he's a 5-star, high 4-star. And then there's 2 other ones in the next 2 classes that look good. Unlike what they've done now is leave themselves with Jaden Denegal, Alex Orgy. I don't even know what happened to Denegal. He seems to be off the depth chart completely.
Yeah.
And then a Davis Warren. They screwed up. They should have hit the portal, but they can hit the portal this year too.
Yeah.
It just depends on who's going to want to come to a bad team. And, unfortunately, it looks like that's where we're heading.
Oof, boy, that doesn't sound good.
It was easily predictable.
Yeah. No, I figured it was going to be a lousy season. I can't remember the last time I turned off a Michigan game or paused it and didn't go back to it. That hasn't happened in a long time. I just think college football, what was special about college football was the unity between current enrollment, your town, your state, the alumni. And that, to me, with these guys that can be like, I'm not starting for this school that I swear allegiance to and bleed for. so I'm going to go to the fucking arch rival and play for them.
Right.
Like that to me is just like, oh, okay.
It's free agency.
Right. It's total free agency. And, maybe I'm just an old man screaming at the fucking clouds and it's the greatest thing ever. I don't know. We'll see. But to me, that's what always made college football really special is we all at least kind of faked like it wasn't just an almost pro league on these elite levels. But now it's like, this is about gambling. This is about, endowments. This is about, putting together a program. I mean, that's probably why these big coaches are leaving, right? Like the recruiting,
why would you do it anymore?
Yeah, where these guys can just go, yeah, fuck you. I'm not starting. I'm not starting day one. Then I'm out of here. And it's just transfer portal central. Like you can recruit a kid for 3 years and then he doesn't start over the fucking senior as a freshman and he just leaves, like that kind of thing. And there's no, to me, it loses all the, what made that really special for all these years. Even as someone who didn't even go to college, it was still cool being in the area and rooting for those teams, seeing the rivalries between Michigan State, and how much you hated Ohio State. Like that was fun. Now it's like, I don't know. We'll see.
I think you make some good points. I just my thought as well is, these guys, they can transfer, and I tweeted this week, if Raiola, the kid from Nebraska, can start, why can't we even discuss Jaden Davis starting? And people said, well, his parents don't want him to play. And I'm like, I don't care what his parents want. If he's the best quarterback, he's got to play.
Yeah.
And people got a little annoyed. And I was like, guys, there's no reason you can't discuss him starting. Otherwise, he'll just transfer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are you going to do? Let him sit on the bench?
That seems obvious. You don't need to be a genius to see a little bit down the road to see that's exactly what will happen with these guys.
Yeah.
I don't even know what his parents' argument would be. Like, he's not ready yet. He's not, this is a shit team.
Yeah. I mean, he's 6'1", 207 pounds. It's not like he's not ready to go. And I don't know. Makes me a little nervous that the kid isn't chomping at the bit to start. Instead,
that's a little scary.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. You think Tom Brady would have said, no, leave me on the bench for a year?
Yeah, can you imagine? Didn't he famously come in as a seventh stringer to that quarterback room?
Yes and no. He was more of an unknown than anything because he was a baseball player too. But, I think Jason Kapsner was on the team. They had a lot of guys who were never going to play.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know about – and then Drew Henson came up the next year.
Yeah. Yeah,
he was never going to be, seventh string ever.
Yeah,
too good an athlete.
Yeah, for sure. What'd you think of the Lions? We'll get to the Trump assassination attempt. We'll spend plenty of time on that. But while we're talking football, what'd you make of the Lions? You worried at all?
No, number one, I think I'm past the day and age where I'll get worried or upset when the Lions lose. It sucks because I can envision this now in December. The Bucs hold the tiebreaker over the Lions for the playoff game.
Totally.
Yeah, and we do this every year, and it's like crap. They're gonna not every year, but whenever they blow it, it's like, well, they could have made the playoffs if they just beat Seattle. They would have got the home NFC Championship game last year if they just beat Seattle.
Yeah. So it totally matters, dude. No one cares about we don't know who these teams are in September. It's like, yeah, well, you got to remember that when you give games away, not that the Lions gave that game away. They were outplayed. But
were they though?
Well, they had more offense.
Twice as many yards offense.
Yes. Goff doesn't look right. Laporta's not being used. They were throwing the ball all over the field, even though the run game seems to work. Like, I don't get that. And that play to end the half is so inexcusable. That is a fireable offense to me at the high school level. Like I don't even know. Is that a damn, huh?
Who screamed for the field goal team?
I don't know. That's what I was going to ask you. Is that a special teams coach making that call? Is that a head coach making that call? Like, how do you fuck that up? Because They chased those 3 points all game. They made decisions the remainder of the game based on that 3 points. They had to go for it when they wouldn't have because of that 3 points. The end of the game came down to those 3 points, as most NFL games do. You just can't have it.
I don't know who did it. He took accountability for it, which I think is kind of disingenuous because he's covering for guys. But I don't know who told the kicking team to run out on the field. That was just stupid.
Stupid. You just spike the ball. You go up there and spike the ball. You got all the time in the world. All the time in the world. We've seen, like, I don't even know how dumb a coach would have to be to even send that message. Like, everybody in the huddle should be like, no matter where this is caught on the field, everybody get up to the line. We'll spike the ball. Unless this thing goes in the end zone, just plan on running up, spiking the ball, and then we'll kick the field goal and go in happy at halftime.
Well, like, Dan's been prone to mistakes.
Yeah.
He has been. I mean, last year he minimized him in the second half of the year, but, it could have easily been. He's a meathead. He's a lovable meathead. He makes mistakes. That's why you like him.
Sort of. So if you go back to 3 years ago, Dan Campbell, he admitted, and I thought it was the most honest answer he's ever given, when he said, look, if I'm being honest, we got to steal some possessions. This team is not good enough to go out and compete with these other teams. And you're like, I love it, man. Weird onside kick times, going for it on fourth down in your end of the field. I got to steal some possessions. I cannot go in with the talent on this team right now and go possession for possession and think we're going to win. That was the message. And it was like, I get it, dude. I get it. We can all see that. If you're going to compete in some of these games, you're going to have to steal a possession where no one expects that you should, or, would be the traditionally smart thing to do. Go get it. And everyone knows this team's going nowhere. Let's see what you got on this roster. That made sense. Yesterday's call is just like so boneheaded, so rookie, so like, holy shit, same old Lions, if you want to even throw that in there. Like, how do you snatch the, whatever from defeat, like that famous saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
snatch
that
victory from the jaws of defeat.
Exactly.
Or
snatch defeat from the jaws of victory.
Right.
Yeah. And how many times on the air have you uttered those words, or people working at one of your sports stations uttered those phrases?
You know what the worst part about yesterday? I tweeted this out. Man, this brings back a lot of old memories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just like one of those games where it was like, damn, what is going on here?
Isn't that funny? Everybody would say something like that. Boy, this brings back old memories of like some happy childhood memory. But every Lions fan knows exactly what you mean. And it's not meant in a good way at all.
So anyway, but yeah, they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah. I was reading an article. Do you know John Whitaker? Not real familiar. He 6 takeaways from the Lions loss to the Bucs. Hutch in the clutch. Hutch with 4.5 sacks in a quarter and a half. Incredible to think about that on any franchise that's done anything. You have a defensive end record 4.5 sacks. Like, that team is winning that game, period. Like, you know what I mean? And to have that kind of performance from him and have that go not your way is kind of crazy. He points out that Goff is off, and people are automatically going to go, oh, yeah, you got paid. So,
he's hurt. I think he's hurt.
Do you really?
How do you bounce 2 passes?
I don't know.
That's Alex Orgy stuff. He orgied 2 passes.
Yeah. I don't understand that. Where in the world is Sam Laporta is another one of his. Like, to me, I had zero confidence the entire game. Every time the Lions got near the red zone, I was like, this is field goal at best. And what did they go? 1 for 7 in the red zone?
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know. When you see a bad Lions team, even when they play well, on those bad teams, it looks like every yard is being run in a foot of mud. Like, everything looks more difficult than it should be. And that's what that Lions team, it was like, I had no faith, no confidence. It's like, this is where Travis Kelce and George Kittle, they take over games. If you've got one of those guys in that red zone where the field is shrunk, those big guys come up over the middle and plow through someone and score a touchdown. They make the tough catch. It's like, what are we doing? What is going on here? Where is Sam Laporta, who looked like an absolute Iron Man last year? And, I don't blame him necessarily, but
do you think maybe Ben Johnson's a little full of himself?
my brother almost said the same thing yesterday.
Who did?
My brother was kind of alluding to that yesterday.
Well,
like,
he threw the ball 55 times after Vita Vea went out.
Yeah.
It's like there should be some opportunity to run the ball here, and instead he's out slinging it around like Goff's Montana.
Yeah. Yeah. Which he's not. He's not. He's got a good arm.
He's a good
he can
quarterback.
Be accurate.
Not great.
Right. He's
of their problems usually.
Your hope with Jared Goff is he's going to be able to do enough to not lose you ball games.
Right.
Like, he's not going to be the reason that you is it Alex Smith-ish? Alex Smith is going to give you a touchdown a game. He's not going to throw a lot of picks.
I think he's going to protect the ball. Alex Smith.
Right, but Alex Smith wasn't going to lose everything for you.
Right, he's not going to turn it over.
He's not going to throw, but Goff, a couple really bad picks, could have been more. I don't think of him as that guy, reckless with the ball. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's week 2. I understand that it's not smart to get all riled up about these.
Right.
But you just hate to see games get away from you. And how much of that is Tampa's defense? Tampa's got a legit D, and it looked like the Lions felt that all day long.
And what if they don't win the coin toss last week and they're 0-2 now?
Yeah. Wouldn't be good. I mean, history doesn't say that teams that start 0-2 do very well as far as making the postseason.
I think they'll be fine ultimately. It's hard to get worked up after game 2. You know what I mean?
Right. For sure. For sure.
If it trends out this way and they go down to Arizona and get beat, that's a problem.
Yeah. And Arizona they kicked the shit out of the Rams yesterday.
Yeah.
They looked like a problem.
It's an up-down league. Rams coming off a tough loss on the road again.
Yep.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm not convinced Arizona's beating anybody.
Yeah. They played tough last year, but this is a league where stacking wins early is really, really important. I mean, we see that the Eagles last year were the number 1 seed, 12 wins in a row or whatever they did, and then lost out, but they were still in the postseason because of that early success. And the Lions, it's like, you got to win your home games. You gotta, that's what good teams do. They find a way to get it done. Their defense kept them in it, but
you got to defend the goddamn den.
Yeah, totally. Got to defend the den. I don't know.
I'm with you, though, brother. That's what the marketing says.
Yeah,
defend the den.
Yeah.
Hey, did you see those 2 dudes shot in Eastern Market yesterday?
No.
2 dudes just shot down right in Eastern Market during tailgate or at the post game.
Really?
Yeah, I'll send you the video.
There's video of it?
Oh, well, you see the guy's dead.
Oh, no.
Yeah, let me send this to you. I got it. I got you.
Should we ban all the guns?
Yeah, definitely. It's
obviously that's the problem.
Yeah, right, Garrett?
For sure.
Guns. This is a gun issue.
Of course it is.
It was the guns that did that.
I wonder I don't know if it was a gang hit or not. Check out this text I'm sending you.
All right.
But yeah, look, there's 2 guys just laying there.
Oh, wow. In a Lions jersey.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Are you seeing that, Garrett?
Yeah, I got the news report right here. It's 48 seconds, just a quick one.
Oh, shit.
The video is on a Twitter channel called @GangHits.
He's wearing a Barry jersey.
It's really sad. You see it?
Yeah.
Look, there's a guy next to him laying there too. They're both laying
Wow.
there. I know.
Those don't look like gang members.
You never know.
I don't know. But that's just the website.
Could just be in Lions gear for the day.
Yeah. Holy shit. That's terrible.
It's
I
brutal.
have not seen that. That's
Eastern
crazy.
Market. They're trying to keep it quiet.
Oh, I bet. Eastern
right
Market's a hot spot now for tailgating and stuff. Like
that's where I get all my tattoos.
Really?
Yep. The Electric Park tattoo is right out in Eastern Market.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they've done a lot to make that area, the go-to spot, Eastern Market, for tailgating and pre-gaming and stuff. That won't help.
Well, let's hear that shooting. One of the guys was dead. The other one was in critical.
Man.
Jesus.
So those two guys laying there, one of them was still kicking.
And that was after the game?
I think so, yeah.
Jeez. Yep. All right. We've waited long enough. What did you think of assassination attempt number 2?
I'm starting to wonder if this isn't being set up.
In which way?
The first one, I can honestly tell you, I think it's just some dope. And I think the Secret Service for 43 years kind of just fell victim to their own confidence that they were protecting the president and didn't do their jobs. Because it took 43 years to get a shot taken at a president since Reagan, and now we've had it done twice in 60 days.
Yeah.
This one, though, man, how did that guy even know Trump was going to be there when it was not on his official schedule?
It's a great question. Did you see the Chris Schwecker, former assistant director of the FBI? He was there in the early aughts, and he said that there's a scary possibility that must be considered following this second assassination attempt. He said the biggest question is, how did the would-be assassin know to be at that location at that time? There are only 3 possible answers. He guessed and got very lucky, which I'm assuming is said tongue-in-cheek, as in the absurd level of that. He conducted surveillance on Trump and followed him to the golf course, or he had inside information about Trump's schedule. The last answer is scary and has implications that another person was involved. So the Ryan Routh, 58-year-old, nut job. Yeah. And dude, seeing enough videos of him, and, he's one of these that he wants to be on a team so bad.
He's been radicalized by Biden Harris. He really has.
Yeah. It looks like his whole shtick is Ukraine,
COVID before that.
But I mean, this is the kind of stuff they say Trump does. Remember, when they accuse you of something, usually they're doing it themselves. And if they're saying Trump's rhetoric is violent, then it's certainly not hard to connect that he's a threat to democracy to a guy who says Trump's a threat to democracy. I'm going to try to shoot him.
Right. It just seems logical. Isn't that I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard many, many times that that's a famous Karl Marx belief.
I'm sure.
Accuse your opponent of what you're doing because it creates mass confusion about what the reality is. Again, the broken record that I am, I point out that the media plays such a critical role in stuff like this, where if they're running cover for something, if they're not acknowledging, if they're plugging their ears to what's going on, it vastly escalates stuff like this.
Yes.
That's the problem with this. Like, nut jobs have always existed. We know that. But when you're playing this game of, he's
Hitler, he's Mussolini.
Right. He's an existential threat. He's a threat to democracy. And then you come out and you see Kamala Harris tweet out, and I've got it here. She tweets out, "I've been briefed on reports of gunshots fired near former President Trump and his property in Florida, and I am glad he is safe. Violence has no place in America." I'm surprised they left the comments on, because it's 100,000 comments of people ratioing the shit out of her.
Right.
Blaming her exclusively for this. By the way, it has no place in American democracy. Well, when you claim something is an existential threat, that's a word most people didn't even know what that saying meant until 6 years ago. The existential threat is not something new. It's just people are learning what that is. It's kind of like insurrection. It got life just a handful of years ago. Existential threat by definition is a threat to the existence or survival of a group of people. So that's the message that is being sent overwhelming to this base. And if you have a media that's just existential threat, we're going to have a panel of people. We're going to have fucking people from various places, from wherever. They're all going to say the same thing. this has Hitler vibes to it. And like, there's no debate about it. This existential threat. This is an existential threat. When you have that message being sent for every minute of 5 years and upwards of 9 straight years, why would it surprise anybody that someone takes that seriously?
And I think we have a left-wing violence problem in this country. Again,
yeah,
they say it's right-wing extremism that's a problem, but every time something like this happens, there's a nutty leftist behind it. The trans school shooters that shot up, the Christian school in Nashville.
Yeah.
Both of the assassins for Trump. This is left-wing violence problem, man. These people are unhinged, and it's being driven by the narrative of their leaders. I mean, like you said, they go out and they with impunity, they say he's an existential threat. They say that he's a threat to democracy. Of course, you're going to get a nut or two.
Yeah.
And the lefties are already nuts. You see video after video of left-wingers screaming at somebody in a MAGA hat or left-wingers stealing yard signs. These people are insane.
Yeah. Yeah, they do seem to be insane, and it feels like that's being rewarded on one side with media cover, right? Like if it was treated the way that behavior is supposed to be treated, you get extreme pushback from media outlets historically. Like, Greg, you're not too young to remember a media where you couldn't just go on national TV and just declare, like, if you even hinted at Hitler, it was like, whoa. Hey,
there's no equivalent to Hitler. None.
No,
Ever.
And it was frowned upon until 5 years ago. Like, it was absolutely, you just couldn't do it. And if you did, you were roundly condemned by everybody. How dare you? How dare you bring up Hitler's name?
This stuff started under Obama, where whenever he got caught in something, or whenever somebody who was an acolyte of his, whenever they got caught doing something, they would just scream racism, Hitler, Obama, Mussolini. This was the tactic that he brought.
Yes,
with him and his political machine.
Yeah,
and they're still doing it to this day. And I've seen him explain it on video.
Right, I've seen those videos too. I've also, it's just sad because we're all the pawns stuck playing in the real world with the consequences.
Yep.
It's horrible, and people don't want to see it. But when Kamala Harris says there's no place in America for this guy, like these silly words that don't mean anything, and then the existential threat, again, a threat to the existence or survival of a group of people. So two things can't be true at once, Kamala. If you would think that you would be cheering this on, like, we almost got him this time, next time we'll get him. I mean, he is an existential threat. Like,
then she should want it to happen.
You should want that to happen. I mean, who wouldn't want to eliminate an existential threat if you really believe that? So if you don't really believe that, then why are you ginning up people in communities all over this country to believe that? Because you can't have both things true at once is the problem.
Yeah.
Like it just, and then you see stuff from, the son of the would-be assassin, Ryan.
What a nut. Get him on a watch list.
Yeah, exactly. He's saying stuff like Orrin Ruth. His father hates Trump, as every reasonable person does.
Right.
Like, he feels comfortable. His dad has...
How reasonable of him.
Yeah, how reasonable. Exactly. Your dad just lined up to take a shot at the former president, current leader of the GOP, whatever, front runner. As every reasonable person does, that statement alone tells me you're unhinged.
Yep.
I don't like Trump either. I hate this game every 4 years and think we all do. And if my father wants to be a martyr to how broken and disassociated the process has become from the real problems and practical solutions, then that's his choice. I'm not saying what he's done or that's what I'm not saying that's what he's done or what he's about. That's just my own rant, being fed up with it all my entire adult life. He noted he hasn't been in contact with his father much, as the two had a falling out. He didn't elaborate on that. Also said his dad's not a violent person, and he didn't believe he owned a gun. I've never even known him to own a gun or known him to do anything batshit crazy like this. I don't know.
He had a felony for gun ownership 20 years ago.
Yeah, fully automatic too, by the way.
By the way, any reasonable person, he means anyone who agrees with me.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's
I'm
exactly
the only one who's
what
reasonable. I'm the only one who's reasonable. These people, man, I'm telling you, it's exhausting because didn't you say 2 shows ago you thought they'd try to take Trump out again?
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%.
I thought of you when this happened. I was like, Mike thought they'd take another shot at him.
I'm not so sure that. Listen, Greg, I'm telling you, the words, listen to them when they speak. When they talk about existential threat, when they say stuff like by any means necessary,
eliminate him.
Eliminate him. Even that, you want to go, well, Biden saying stuff like that or bullseye. I'm not willing to go there. But
no, there was a guy. I forgot who it was. Some Democrat politician who was on CNN a week ago and said he can't ever get to the Oval Office. We have to eliminate him. That was his word.
Yes. Yeah. I believe them when they say that. Like,
yep.
I'm by any means necessary. If you are using words like Hitler, carefree. If you're throwing around words like Hitler, existential threat, those things mean something. Whether the general public understands exactly what they're saying, those things mean something. And if these fucking clowns have ginned themselves up into believing this, someone that wants strong border security, isn't quite eloquent with the way he tries to address a migrant invasion in a town like Springfield, Ohio. Greg, you and I could have written that speech for him and an answer that would be way better and way more helpful than they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats.
Right.
The message gets drowned out.
Here's the problem.
Message.
Here's the problem, as it always is. You know he's going to turn out to be right. PETA put out a video of them eating them. And I don't know where that was or whatever, but the point is he's often right.
Yeah, usually.
Even though we laugh at him, the messaging is sometimes skewed. Stupid things like putting out a "I hate Taylor Swift" post. What is that?
Yeah.
Why bother with her?
Why?
Yeah.
Why? No one on your team needs to hear that.
And none of her people are voting for you. So
no.
Who cares?
And they never were. Never were.
That was baked in already.
Yeah. Yeah. No, some of this stuff is so silly. And then I go, well, he has won before, because we're always the ones going, oh, dude, why? Why do you have to word it like that? Like any potential step forward you had is gone with a statement like that.
Yeah, it's just dumb.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But then, I think I remember a time when, an attack on someone, like that's a big news story. It was almost not covered in the news yesterday. Maybe a scroll on the bottom of the screen during CBS. Like that would have been when we were kids. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you special news. And then we'd be yelling at our TVs going, go back to the game. Holy shit, go back to the game. Like no breaking news. They did 3 hours at the primetime Emmys last night. Not one fucking person mentioned that the former president of the United States, someone tried to assassinate him. Nobody really,
I was reading.
It tells me these people want this to happen and they're upset.
They've already said it. Some of them have already said it. I was reading, listening to a documentary on Lincoln. Do you realize the manhunt that went down after someone took a shot at him?
Really?
I mean, they chased Booth for a week. I mean, they chased down 7 conspirators who were at a bunkhouse. Yeah. And the Trump stuff happened to just went away. First one, and the second one's already gone. Like it never happened.
I can't get over.
So it's over.
What's that, Garrett?
I said, well, they caught the guy, so it's over. Nothing left.
Right.
Don't look.
Nothing left.
Was he acting alone?
No, we don't want to ask those questions. We got the guy.
No.
Yeah,
they got him. Don't worry about
it. Dude.
Nothing to see here.
The image of Trump screaming "fight" with blood streaking down his cheek should be one of the most iconic photos. Whether you agree with him or not, that is one of the most courageous and brave moments in American history ever.
No, that's why they're burying it.
What's that?
That's why the left's burying it.
Right.
They have control of the media and they want that photo gone.
Oh yeah. No, when you Google searched, I remember it. I'm not too young to remember when you searched Trump assassination attempt and they showed you all these Kamala Harris rally stuff.
Yeah.
Like That's not done on accident.
No, it's always those mistakes are always made one way.
Right. And we just have to sit back and take it and hope, but the further larger point is I still don't. I hope I'm proven wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Unfortunately, Greg, you've said it. I say it. We're usually right about these things, like these stories that are like, oh, this is batshit crazy. I don't care if it's COVID or Hunter Biden's laptop or, Russiagate or name the conspiracy theory, the crazy nutty conspiracy. I am convinced there's no way they're going to let that guy get into the office.
I was never one of those guys who said, I don't trust my government.
No.
But I'm learning not to.
Yeah.
I used to believe that they really were out trying to do what was best, and I just don't believe that anymore.
I don't either.
There's too much evidence contrary to it, to think these guys are trying to do the right thing. They're trying to maintain power and enrich themselves. That's all they care about. And I don't know what good all that money's going to do when there's no country left.
Yeah, I don't either. It's terrifying. I know. You just see it time and time again. And, I've got some notes here. I think the worst part would be, I think this would be even more offending to me than if Trump were to be assassinated, say. The worst part would be these fucking assholes in the media going on TV and trying to pretend like this is some tragedy.
Right. When they hate his guts.
Oh,
they'd all pull the trigger if they could.
Yes, exactly. I don't believe for a second. I believe and I know some of them. I know some of these people that are blue no matter what, vote blue no matter who. Like those people that don't want to have the conversation, they don't want to have a discussion. There is no debate. They already know. They already know exactly what's good for you and everybody else. We can't have the discussion. Those people, I remember telling one of my lefty friends, I was like, God, dude, you sound like someone who, if they could snap their fingers and every person who's a conservative or doesn't believe like them was dead, gone, you would do it. He goes, in a heartbeat. Absolutely. Just think about that. And it wasn't like, ha, 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 joke time. And I think there's a larger than people would like to admit swath of those people that are fucking devastated for one reason about yesterday's events, and that's because they didn't finish the job.
They said it after the first time.
Yeah.
They said it after the first time, and you knew they would. I even hate opening social media after something like that happens.
I know.
I'm always going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
And
it's really tough.
Fails. And we have a left wing. I'm telling you, there's a left wing violence problem.
Yeah. Oh, we
that's
see
gotta
it.
Be addressed.
And the sad part to me too is there, like it'd be one thing if after COVID or after Russiagate or after Hunter Biden's laptop, there was some sort of self-reflection or some sort of accountability, like, one of those guys going on the evening news in front of the nation and going, you know what? It just shows you how important it is for us to really stay on the story and do our homework, because we really fucked this one up. We really dropped the ball on this. We affected people's lives. We affected where they work. We shamed people. We outed people. We snitched on fucking neighbors and loved ones. And we were wrong. We got this one wrong. And it's our responsibility to earn your trust back and do better. Like if there was anybody who did that, have you heard one person?
No.
I mean, they fight it to the death.
They double down every time.
Every time
they're going to tell you they did the right thing to save lives.
Yeah.
And even if they said, look, when it first happened, we didn't know what we were dealing with. It was a good thing to shut it down for 2 weeks. Let's see what we're dealing with. Let's see if we can handle, mass death, mass hospitalization. And then it became, I can do whatever I want. Don't think for a minute Whitmer here in Michigan didn't love telling people to stay in their homes. I think it's like an aphrodisiac for him, right?
Right.
She got horny thinking that she could shut people down.
Yeah,
absolutely. She banged her husband like crazy, thinking, I shut this whole bitch down.
Yeah, think about the power that they have. Dude, we see it in everywhere. I don't care if someone's a Walmart greeter. Whatever level of, ho, I get to be the boss here. People just do. It's something weird in us that it's very hard to check even the tiniest amount of power that you give someone. So give these people like absolute control over a state. And it shouldn't surprise anyone. It's why our forefathers were so smart in the way they drafted things to limit and keep checks on these fucking people at every turn.
They're all, it's insanity, and it's frustrating to watch. And, that's why I'm a conservative, because I'm more of a rugged individualist. The less you're in my life, the better off we all are.
100%.
I'll keep up my end of the bargain.
Yep.
I will pay my taxes. I'll go to work. I'll make sure my kids are taken care of.
Yep.
I'll take care of my four walls. That's just not the way it's trending, though. It's trending for daddy, take care of me. And I don't know how we went from ask not what your country can do for you, ask you what you can do for your country. I don't know why we got so far away from that, because it's always about how can I be a good citizen? How can I be a good leader in my community? How can I not be an asshole to my neighbor, And instead it's like, it's everyone's aggrieved. Everyone wants to take video of someone being an asshole so they can go viral. I mean, it's fucked up, man.
It's terribly fucked up. It's destructive on every level. And, I wouldn't even have a problem. Like Kamala Harris, for instance, is entitled to her beliefs, her opinions. She has as many rights as you do and I do. And the fact of the matter is her outlook on this country is radically different than the one you just described. It just is. Like it's not about, like this guy's going to lower my taxes and this guy's going to lower them less. Like that's not the debate we're having.
What are you going to give me now?
Right. And Kamala Harris, the problem is Kamala Harris is trying to pretend that she believes in the same America you believe in.
She's
right?
Fake.
That is bullshit. And there's countless video clips and quotes of her saying what she really thinks, what she really believes. That stuff is documented. But if you have a media landscape that buries that stuff, acts like it's a conspiracy theory, Time magazine shouldn't be able to print in, when talking about Trump, when Trump said this bitch wants to give fucking trans surgeries paid for by the taxpayer to prisoners and illegal immigrants in prison. And they go, one of the Time articles came out and was like, listen to this nut job making wacky claims like this. Nobody even knows what he's talking about. And it's like, yeah. And whose fault is that? Because some of us know exactly what he's fucking talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some of us know exactly what Donald Trump is talking about. You don't, because guess what? Your mainstream media is not telling you. By the way, here she is multiple times on video saying just that. And then, spare me when you come out with a correction 3 days after the fact.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm on the back page of the website.
Yeah. So I don't care like that MSNBC exists. MSNBC makes no bones about what they are. They are the media arm of the DNC. They are going to find some retarded way to spin whatever bullshit their side's coming up with. We know what they are. They are what they are. They don't need to give the opposing argument. It's like, we'll let Fox News do that. But they want to paint it like, the right has Fox and MSNBC. It's like, no, Fox is held to check. Every fucking word they say is fact checked across the landscape media. Do you not see the difference? They can't just go radical, super MAGA, alt-right, whatever. They can't take the Proud Boys message, or that's even a bad example. They can't take the Klan's message and run with it and act like this is normal.
It's maddening. You're banging your head against the wall. No one, it's everyone's in their camp now, and there's no way to get them out.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. It's sad, but I don't know, man. It's going to be really interesting. The best you can hope for if you don't win the White House is to get the Senate back, because my philosophy now is gridlock is good. Lock this thing up so no one can do anything.
The less the government can do, the better.
Who was it that famously said that this is how it's supposed to be? You. Didn't one of our Supreme Court justices say that too?
I don't know. Maybe.
Or that, hey, man, that like you might not like it, but it is designed specifically, the whole operation, to not let people just take off down the road with progress.
Right.
Like it is meant to be in gridlock, specifically designed that way.
And I'll take it every day.
Yeah. Yep. Isn't that funny? The older I get, I feel the same way, Greg.
Because if they get both houses, we'll get 2 new states just to get 4 new senators. We'll lose the filibuster. They'll pack the court. They'll do all these things they say that the Republicans want to do, but never did when they had them both.
Right.
And, the left wing is so seriously taken over that party that it's really hard at this point to even recognize it. Bill Clinton wouldn't be a Democrat today.
Yeah.
It's become that nuts.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. No, he'd be shamed out of his own damn party.
Yeah, he would be.
Shamed out of it. Same with RFK.
But they let such a small group of people run it. I mean, the AOCs of the world, the squad is running the party. Those people should be marginalized. No one cares what that dumb bitch has to say.
Yeah. I know. Well,
people only care about her because she's got a big rack and she's not unattractive.
Exactly. And one of the few on that side. Sorry.
Right.
Dude. And I would have no problem if the American people were told the truth about Kamala Harris. And she's like, look, here's how I see it. I think the American system is wrong. Marxism just hasn't been done right. I believe in big government being able to help everybody, pulling everybody up. Like if that was the message and it was fair and you went, okay, America, here's your choice. We can keep going down this road because a lot of people don't like the way America is, or you have this, which is a pretty radical difference. I'd go, okay, if the people wanted to vote for something like that, so be it. But this idea of like, oh no, we're all in favor of closed borders too. We've got the best. Like, no, you're not. No, you're not at all in favor of that. What are you talking about? Right. I don't know what your end game is. I can guess, but you're full of shit. You're full of shit. You need cover being run for you on you. Absolutely. I can pull up the fucking video of you talking about giving illegal immigrant trans prisoners fucking surgeries paid for by the American tax dollar. Like, no, that is something you absolutely believe in. You did want to bail out rioters in Minneapolis. You encouraged your followers to donate to the bail funds.
Still up.
Yeah, the tweet's still up. Exactly. But if nobody covers that, it's like it didn't happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you're left to go, well, I saw it on Fox News. And it's Fox News.
And then it gets even like more shady when you realize one of the debate moderators, the woman, was sorority sisters with Kamala Harris. And I just learned that a week ago.
Wait, say that again, Garrett?
One of the debate moderators was sorority sisters with Kamala Harris.
Really?
Yep.
Well, and
they don't talk about that.
The president of ABC News introduced Kamala to her husband.
Yeah. I mean, shows you the circles they're running in.
Well, and that's
but
fine.
Fox News is the conspiracy theorist.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
No, I'm very worried about it, man. I honestly, I'm not a fearmonger person. I never have been. I'm an asshole and a smart ass by trade. That's what my specialty is. And I'm very worried about, gotcha. I'm very worried about what happens in this country in a couple months. I really am, man. It's terrifying. It really is. And did we lose Greg?
Yeah, his battery died.
It says my computer has 8 minutes, battery dying. That's what I was laughing at. The private chat came through. That's okay, Greg. If you're listening, I think we get the message. I think we get the point. It's crazy, dude. It's really weird. When you see Garrett, the primetime Emmys, there were more comments about childless cat ladies.
Yeah.
Like
they're really focusing in on that because JD Vance, I think, decided that people with kids should have more votes.
Yeah.
Which, again, not a good move in a campaign season.
Wait, he didn't say they should have more votes. Oh, is Greg back?
Yep, Greg's back.
Now I'm on my phone. I lost my computer, so now
dude, I just said if you can bail. That's okay. I think we get the message. Dude, thank you for coming back in.
For everyone who wondered, I sent Mike a note saying my computer says 30 seconds.
That's so funny. No, I was mentioning
it's dead.
Oh yeah, it is dead. I have the same computer. Yeah. By the way, I was just mentioning to Garrett how more oxygen has been given to childless cat lady comment from 4 years ago, by the way.
Right.
It's not even like a comment that was made. And I was going to ask you, because I know that's like oh my God, it's a horrible thing to say, childless cat lady, the implication, and oh my God, he's attacking women. But at the core, is his statement that wrong?
No, his overall statement is just there's people with kids who are probably thinking more about the future than somebody who doesn't have kids.
Yes. And not just that.
And I see that.
Every comment is not an attack. It was an offhanded comment about women who have vested interest in the future of the country yet. It's not that deal. There are childless dog guys too.
Yeah.
You know, but you, Mike.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what?
There are childless dog guys, and there are guys who wish they were childless dog guys.
Dude, I have no problem with it. Now, I'm a guy, so I'm not as overly emotional about some of these topics as some people I know. I don't take any offense at that, and I understand the implication of it. Okay, I'm basically a childless cat lady, right? I hate cats, but I've had them, and my dog I treat like my child. But the fact of the matter is, I know under the best case scenario, I got 20 years left. I'm not that healthy. 21, maybe. Like, I don't, and it's like, okay, I got 20 years to get to this finish line, and I don't have anything coming up behind. What's that?
What'd you say? Put a baby in her.
Yeah, no. Too fucking old, not interested. But I can understand why it's like, no, I don't quite have the same vested interest in somebody that's got a kid or someone in their early 20s. They're going to have to live with the consequences of whatever shitty decisions I and my generation come up with. Like, it's not of my concern. Like, hope they figure that shit out. See ya. And I'm gone. Like it's not an insult to me. It's just a reality of the situation. Like, his point was larger than that too, where he's like, the loudest bitches out here are the AOCs and the Kamala Harrises who don't have any kids of their own. And he meant, I think there were a number of people, like, why is it that they all of a sudden in this party don't seem to care about the nuclear family, don't seem to have that sort of vested interest that historically we've always had? I don't know that his comment, it wasn't offensive to me, and he's talking about people like me.
Well, and I think his comments also go to the fact that this country was built on a strong foundation of families. A lot of people would say with God involved.
Yeah.
But families, generation after generation, telling the story of this country and why it's a great country and why we're lucky to be here. They don't want that story told anymore. They just want to strip it down to the country started in 2010 and it sucks.
Right.
That's really what it comes down to, rather than, your old man sharing with you stories of how he packed up everything he had and went off to Germany to fight for the things the ideals we live by today. They don't want that anymore. They just want, it's all grievance. The grievance pays very well. Ask Jamel Hill. It pays well. Do you agree?
Yep. Who's the other guy that wrote, couldn't define racism, but wrote the fucking book that's like the, mantle for every progressive dipshit Black Lives Matter fan? I can't remember his name, but it's such an obvious grift. Like, it's so easy. And it's like, this clown should be an associate professor making $80,000 a year somewhere. And instead he's a multimillionaire. God bless America.
What about the lady who wrote White Fragility? Apparently she gets her ass ripped up in this new Am I Racist movie.
Can't wait to see it.
I know.
You haven't gone yet to see it?
No. Thinking about tomorrow night when there's no football on.
What will your wife do if you try to go to? Would she go with you?
No.
See, that's sad to me, because if you saw What Is a Woman?
Yeah.
Like it's hard to make that argument anymore that these people aren't absolute fucking clowns. It's hard. That's the problem too. They don't want it. They don't want to have that conversation. They don't want to have that debate.
No, because you're a racist.
Yeah. Right.
You're an ist. Somewhere along the line, you're an ist.
Yeah. You're an ist.
Right. Phobic.
Yeah.
Insane.
It's a sad state, man. Did you see Martha Stewart revealed who she's voting for? I'll give you one guess.
Well, of course, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought her. Go ahead.
You have to be. Did you see her interview Friday night with that local Philly station, Kamala?
Oh my God, dude.
They asked her,
Jared, if you can find it, go ahead and pull it up. Yeah.
specifically, they asked her, how are you going to lower inflation? And she didn't talk about the money supply. She said, I was born in a middle-class family.
Yeah.
And I was kidding. You don't even know the basics. The basics are you got to get money out of the system. There's too much of it. The definition is too much money chasing too few goods. You got to burn money, get it out, raise interest rates, leave them there for a while. And she didn't even know. She doesn't know the basics.
So it's all filled with like hopish, joyish, word salady garbage. Like there's nothing to it. Yet people, they're trying to make the argument like, listen to him. He's just ranting lunatic, talking about eating dogs and cats. And it's like, so you're asked can you give me a couple examples of something you would do to lower inflation? I was raised in a middle-class family and lawn care. It's like meant to take you back to your child. What kid doesn't remember lush green lawns in neighborhoods and throwing the ball around? And like, it's supposed to give you that feel, but it's so insulting.
It's insulting. And to have people who are smart, or at least allegedly smart, voting for her. Like my wife, she has a master's degree.
Yeah.
She's her and she doesn't care.
Yeah.
She hates Trump.
Yeah.
Because Trump sends mean tweets.
Well, advertising works, right? You and I both know that we've been in a business our whole careers that count on advertising. Advertisers don't spend money with you if you don't have an audience. If advertising didn't work, they wouldn't. So when the advertisement has been for 9 straight years, this is your problem. He's been here 5 minutes, but he's the whole problem with your existence your entire fucking life.
Right.
He's the sole problem. When that is what they're selling, I mean, ShamWow has an audience, right? Like when I don't care how stupid your message is. What's that?
The My Pillow guy.
Yeah, I love that guy. Use promo code TDC. Get extreme discounts. I'll get you some. You want some My Pillow stuff, Greg? We'll have him send you some stuff.
I'm still waiting on mine.
In an account of yours?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've had Mike on many times, and
I want to put a pillow and some slippers.
Really? Will your wife burn them?
Nope. I'm going to rub them on her ass when she's nude.
Yeah. Mike's great. Mike had us out to his facility in Minnesota.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we went out there and he hung out with him all day. He was fucking great, dude. The guy, he's incredible. And it's too bad to me. He's one of the most generous advertisers I've ever had. The first time I talked to him, donated $10,000 to a homeless charity we were doing and sent a truck here with 600 pillows on it for local Detroit homeless people.
Wow.
And we went out and hung out with him, and he had Jay and I sit in on a policy meeting he was having with some people in Washington. And he had us sit in, and he's like, what do you guys think about this? And he was talking about eliminating, tackling the war on substance abuse in these inner cities. And he had, leaders from DC at the time. I got to take this meeting, guys. Why don't you join me? Tell me what you think. I swear to God, dude, it was the craziest thing ever.
What are you talking about? He's evil. That's all I've heard.
Yeah.
Is how evil he is because
evil.
He thought the election was weird.
Needs to be banned. It needs to have his business destroyed and bankrupted. And these people aren't I know shady people. I know shitty people. Mike Lindell, when you go through his facility, literally every person in there, they're all people he grew up with who were junkies with him. They've been working for him for 30 fucking years. He's like, yeah, that's Bill. He used to sit at the end of the bar I owned in Minnesota. He'd be passed out every night, and I'd send a cab to take his ass home. And now he works here. He's been working for me for 30 years. That's the dude you're dealing with.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, I'm not willing to write those people off as just,
crazy election denier evil.
Yeah. Election deniers are nothing new. It's been going on forever. Usually one side a little more than the other, by the way.
Yeah, their side.
Yeah. It's crazy.
All right.
Dog park.
Oh, you taking? Yeah, you taking her
every night.
Not a boy. I got to find one over here. I'm a little worried though. I was asking someone about dog parks here in Arizona, and I was like, I don't, all the paperwork and all the shit on Cece, because she's up to date on everything, but it's all back in Michigan. I'm like, is that going to be a pain in the ass? And they're like, oh, you don't need any of that paperwork in Arizona. You can just go. But then they got me worried, Greg, because they were like, oh yeah, you got to be afraid, that other dog owners there with their fucking dogs, they don't have anything. They're not up to date on anything. I don't know if that's.
Look at this.
They know.
Little Roops.
Oh my God! Look at those gays. Yep, get a good stretch in there. Yeah. Where's
They wouldn't even let me pick them up.
Where's Oyster?
She ran out. She was going to get her leash.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
they're ready.
That's how I knew. I saw her get up and run out, and I knew she was going down to get her leash. So
yeah. But well, Greg, check yourself out. That's cool. I'll wrap this up with Garrett here, and I'll be in touch. I don't know if you want to do another one this week, or I made the mistake of saying that I was going to Dallas this week. It's fucking next week. It's not this week. I'm such an idiot. What's that?
Let me know.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I definitely.
Another attempt on his life.
Yeah, right. Count on it.
Yeah.
Count on it. Existential threat. It means something. By any means necessary means something, Greg. All right, buddy. See you, buddy.
Use.
What's that? What'd you say?
You by the words you use. That's the old hook. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm losing your audio, so beat it.
All right. You guys.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Thanks, buddy. Yeah. So Martha Stewart, just wrapping that up, she came out and endorsed Kamala Harris. No shock there.
No, not at all.
This I found interesting, though. In 2016, she called Trump a true entrepreneur. Ahead of the 2020 election, she remained silent when Trump took on Joe Biden. She did tell the New York Times, though, my personal conundrum is my friends know who I am and what I stand for, but in terms of being the owner of a magazine, how do you take sides when 50% of your readers might be on one side, 50% on the other? It's difficult. That's my answer to that. So who you supporting in 2016 or 2020, that was her answer. I run a magazine. I got to think about them. 50%, 50%. This time, Stewart appears to have no qualms about endorsing Harris. I'm not allowed to talk about politics. I can't post anything about politics because, first of all, the eyeballs of a parent company come and I'll get a call right away. Can't do that. You can't talk about that. So keep it quiet. So apparently, unless you say what the approved message is, she's 100% right that people in that company would be telling her there's no way you can support Donald Trump. That will get boycotts going. They'll burn your fucking building down. That can't happen. Yeah. But I guess her message of, hey, half my readers are on this side, half my readers are on that side, that's apparently gone out the window now because it's okay for her to endorse Kamala Harris. Think about that for a second. It's okay for her to endorse that person. That's not true if she wanted to endorse Donald Trump. It's just not. So, and the fact is, another entitled celebrity who's worth $1 billion with zero concern for the reality of normal Americans. It comes down to that. Grocery prices, how much do those actually mean to a billionaire like Martha Stewart? How much do gas prices mean to her? Immigrants taking over communities in small to middle America. She'll never visit one of them. She won't even drive through them. The closest she'll get to one of those is at 30,000 feet in a private jet on her way from New York to LA. That's the closest she'll get is 30,000 feet to any of those fucking people that have to deal with the fallout in Springfield, Ohio. Fact. That's just what it is.
You know, I thought she would have been more of a Trump supporter considering they're both been accused of financial crimes.
Right. Willy-nilly accused us. The other thing is, and I don't know if there's any truth to this, but you know, those egomaniacs get kind of territorial. NBC launched The Apprentice with her and Trump, and her side of it is that Trump was supposed to take a knee and fire himself, something stupid like that. And then she lost the ratings war. And his show stayed and she went bye-bye. Does she hate him for that? I don't know.
Maybe a little bit. I could see it.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be beyond the pale. Like, is that a conspiracy theory? I don't know. But it doesn't shock me in the least. Like, I'm in this unique position that I've been on both sides of the fence. One where I had quite a bit of money, not like crazy money, but enough that I didn't give a shit if gas prices went up.
Yeah, you didn't have to worry too much.
No. When it came to paying my bills, not a concern.
You weren't rich, but you didn't have to worry.
Exactly. Didn't have to worry. And then, I've been in spots where I wasn't smart with money and I lost money and I've been on the extreme, not the extreme, but on the other side where it's like, God damn it. This used to cost me $200 for groceries in a basket this big. Yeah. And now it's $458. What the fuck is going on here? Like, filling up my tank. I didn't do it as much as most people because I didn't leave the house much, but once a month, once every few weeks, I'd go fill up and it was $35. And then it's 70 or 65. Like,
yeah, it's getting ridiculous now.
That something like that doesn't matter to someone at the primetime Emmys. It just doesn't. It's not, to them, there's always a little nest egg over here. Like, well, if it gets, and I remember having that thinking, like, well, doesn't everybody have $7,000 in cash in a drawer somewhere that you can, like, if something happened, you at least have that, right? Like, nope. And then you realize, like, no, you can get to a point where not only do you not have $7,000 in excess cash in the drawer, like, you don't, you're choosing between which bills to pay.
Yeah.
And when
a lot of my assets are on the shelf behind me.
Right.
That's how I'm living.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But, that's the reality for a lot of people and a lot of people that listen to this show. And, you listeners are probably more informed about a lot of this shit than a lot of people, it's just sad. It's sad. It's scary. But anyways, I would have felt better if the Lions won and Michigan won and my Niners won, but it's early.
You're 3 for 3 out.
Let's do some email and we'll call it a day. And like I said, I fucked that up. So I am flying to Dallas next week, Wednesday. And for those that care, I'll be joining Dave Landau and Quarter Black Garrett. And Angela, who's awesome, the girl with the tats. Angela's sweet as can be over there at Glenn Beck Studios at the Paramount Studios in Dallas. I'll try to take some photos and shit like that. I really kind of want to meet Glenn Beck too and Stu over there. That would be kind of cool. But I'm going to go do Normal World. I know a lot of you are familiar with that show, have watched that show. So I'm going to go do that. I thought it was this week and I look like an idiot because I've been texting and emailing with Angela over there at Normal World and like, yeah, see you next week. I'm really excited. She's like, yeah, we have you down on the 26th. We'll see you then. And I'm like, yep, next week. Can't wait. Like, idiot.
Wait a second.
So, hold on. So, that'll be next week. So I'll be here full week this week. Garrett, thank you. I think you're going to be here.
Yep.
As well, even though last week
are all the same.
Good. So, that'll be fun. All right, let's do a few emails and get out of here for the day. Adam wrote, he was the one that wrote about Steve King the other day. As you know, hard, fast policy of not calling him Stephen King.
Yep, just Steve.
Yeah, just Steve King. Just if you think of him as Steve King, it kind of takes him down a notch from legendary horror author Stephen King. Steve King just sounds like some dude, wacky old. As he gets older, he looks more lesbian every day. So Adam had written us about Steve King, and I'm trying to remember the exact context of. Do you remember, Garrett? He was
pulling his books from Florida was pulling his books from the schools.
Right.
And he was popping off like, oh, they're banning my books.
Right. No, I remember that. But Adam's take was, oh, I see. You're not for free speech.
He doesn't like that we are against them putting Stephen King books in schools.
Right.
As opposed to like we should have kids be available to anything.
Right. And we were making the point that nobody is banning Steve King's books.
Yeah.
It's just simply a matter of
get out of the school. The school should be neutral for everybody.
Right. We all agree that R-rated movies are probably not the most appropriate for young eyes, and so we don't allow kids to do that. We don't allow kids to do a lot of things. And Steve King books, and we read you a bunch of examples on the show of, shit that just wouldn't be appropriate for young ears that aren't developed yet. No big deal. And nobody here would ever want Steve King's books banned from anywhere. He's in every bookstore in America. He's in every fucking, go to Amazon. You can buy anything you want. And if you're one of those parents that wants to have your kids at 8 years old reading Steve King books, well, that's your prerogative. You can do that.
I was thinking more about it too in the sense of guns, where I think it's like one of those things where, yes, you should introduce your kid to guns in a safe way, but you should never give your kid a gun,
Right.
It's like you can take them out, you can show them the safe stuff to do, the right way to do everything, and then as soon as you get back home, those motherfuckers better get locked up.
Yeah. So Adam wrote back after our conversation about it, said, hey, thanks for the response to my email. You did make some good points for sure and explained your position quite nicely. That, even if we don't exactly agree, is so amazing to have in a conversation.
I know.
It's, dude, and he writes more, we'll get to it, but this is my overwhelming point in all of this.
Yeah.
When you try to shut down the conversation, like by saying someone's a racist, by saying someone's a transphobe, you're just shutting down what should be like, okay, if that's the way you feel, that's great. Let's talk about this. Let's fucking play this out a little bit and see where we land on it.
It's gotten so bad out there that anytime two people do have a normal conversation like this, it gets acknowledged.
Exactly. And I welcome it across the board. If someone's thought about some stuff, dude, people change my mind all the time on things. I'm not married to my positions, even though it seems like I might be a lot of the times. It's an overwhelming feeling to see the neglect of what your mainstream media does and how it treats you and shutting down those legitimate conversations. If someone goes, hey, wait a minute, I don't think that sounds right. That why would I let my 12-year-old declare something? You're going to hide it from me. Yeah. And if I have any complaint about it, you can threaten to take my kids away. That is a law in Minnesota. Kid says, I think I'm trans. The teachers can keep that information for fear that the parents are going to go apeshit and kill their kid or something.
Yeah.
And then if the dad goes, holy fuck, why would my 12-year-old think it's a girl all of a sudden? And why are, that they'll take that fucking kid away. That's part of the law. So the fact that they don't even want that conversation to be had is what scares the shit out of me. And I don't want it to get to a point where it's like anybody who disagrees with left-wing talking points needs to be fucking canned. That's what they tried to do. I can't stress how important Elon Musk, whether you agree with Elon on everything or not, how important that move was of buying Twitter. It means that, they wanted to have a ban across the board. I don't know how many people know that, but they wanted it to be like if you get banned on Twitter, it means you're banned on Facebook and TikTok. They wanted to have that so that it wasn't like one rebel could stand out over here. By having Elon Musk keep Twitter open and free, I see a massive difference in the conversations, the amount of community notes and fact checking or just flat responses that happen when some idiot puts something out there and is like, whatever they may say, it gets ratioed to fucking death on Twitter, where that wasn't happening just a couple years ago. It was getting to be really bad, really obvious. You don't want that. And so Steve King's on the right side of the political narrative. And so he feels he can be like, hey, 11-year-olds having orgies. What's the problem? It should be in all schools. And people can go, yeah, go fuck yourself, Steve King. No one here wants to ban your writings, but you don't get to put that and let 8-year-olds decide that. Sorry. Yeah. So, but we should be able to have the conversation about it. And I welcome Adam's opinion, just like any emailer's opinion. Tell me what you think. Tell me what I'm missing on something like that. Why it's important. I'd love to hear it. Give me your talking points or your position on it. And Adam, I've met him at events before, and he's a good dude. So I understand not everyone has my beliefs. It's just fine. Some things just get hypocritical, which we all are to certain extents when people get boxed into their political views, in my opinion. 3G was guilty of that on the last show when he said the Dems, put the gun in Trump shooters' hands. So words do cause violence, according to him. How can he then stand on the counter argument when liberals say the same thing when defending marginalized peoples? I don't know exactly on the counter argument when liberals say the same thing when defending marginalized people. So words do cause violence.
I think he's talking about the hyperbolic statements causing people to, commit certain acts that they usually wouldn't. Like them calling Trump Hitler is why the shooter went out and tried to shoot Trump. So maybe it's like them calling the illegals like dreamers and people who are just looking for better. It's like kind of that same sort of hyperbolic statement to try and make it a safe statement, so that it's like, this is why they're good people, because they're just dreamers. They're not criminals.
This is a weird one, right? Because I think you're right. This is a really weird one because I can promise you Greg Henson has not historically been like this, and neither have I, where, hey, man, you're responsible for your actions. You don't get to blame anybody else. You go shoot up a school, fuck you, it's your fault, period. Don't blame the parents in that case. You're held responsible for your own personal actions.
Yeah.
There's a difference when you have a healthy, systems operating healthy in a society, doing their jobs and basically keeping society in check, showing people where the levels are, where the walls are, and, you get a little out of control sometimes. But what's been going on the last 9 years has gotten so corrupted and so evil is all I can say. It's evil. When CNN is evil. Like I know that sounds hyperbolic. I know that sounds extreme. It is. They are state media. They're the enemy of the people. I say it. I tweet about it. I mean it when I say that. Like that's different than what it ever was before. These people didn't behave like this 9 years ago. Not to this level. They were always liberal. They were always lefties. And you always went, that's cute. I get their little liberal bend. It's there. What they're doing now, I can only categorize as fucking evil. I don't know how else to say it. So it's different. In this case, when you have 9 years of straight advertising, yes, some people are going to fucking hear that message every minute of every day for 9 straight years, and they might act on it. And I don't think we're done. We haven't seen the last of what's going to happen. I
was going to say, what's the over-under on a third attempt?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's anything these people wouldn't do. I just believe that, I was the first one saying it months and months and months and months ago that this was going to happen to Trump. And now, I already hear the excuses. People like, you called it, but that was just some whack job. And it's like, well, what did you think it was going to be? Men in Black? Did you think it was going to be a Men in Black scene from
that
a
was
movie?
the first one.
Yeah. Like, what? All I said was that's what's going to happen, to what extent? I don't know. It was so easy to see coming. It was so easy that whether it's the federal government or some fucking black ops unit or, some person that's listened to these fucking clowns on mainstream media talk about an existential threat to their fucking well-being. Like, this wasn't super hard to predict, to see coming. It just wasn't. But liberals say the same thing with defending. And the problem with the dreamers argument is it's been like any rational person can look at the dreamers as an isolated thing and go, wait a minute, this kid was brought here unaware at 2 years old and it's now 23 years old and wants citizenship. That's a different argument than having, but it's also a slippery slope. No offense to our Asian listeners.
Yeah, because then it becomes an anchor baby situation where these people are coming over to try and get a kid in here.
So furthering that conversation is one thing. If you just go, you hate Mexicans if you're not all for dreamers. It's like, no, it's a little more nuanced than that, because I don't know anybody that can't hear the story of dreamers and go, yeah, it'd be nice to do that, to give them citizenship, that like when you talk about like go back to your own country, like where would they even go?
No, exactly. This is kind of their country.
Right. Like that doesn't
even I can recognize that.
Right. So the most hardcore, like, person as far as their borders argument would be able to see and recognize like, yeah, but having the discussion of like, okay, here's the problem. If you set precedent that this is okay, now people will point to that precedent when going, well, we can make an argument that these people also. And it's like, okay, like at some point you need to have that conversation. So the Dreamers is an extreme example of like, yeah, I think most sane people can agree with that. But
it's like it's the abortion for rape and incest. It's the small situation that kind of justifies every other situation.
Right. It's the hermaphrodite argument for trans is what it is. And you're like, okay, well, don't take the freak anomaly and make it like that's the normal.
The actual problem. Yeah.
Like that's okay. I hate these fucking pious twats that get elected trying to instill their virtues upon us. Throw them all to the wolves. They need to be criticized on every single move they make. Don't let them have the power. Power to the people. Art should be free to push the limits of society without censorship. Same argument as people make about guns or abortion or whatever. Adam, we think a lot of the same things.
We agree. Just again, school should be a neutral territory. Get the sexual stuff out. It shouldn't be guns in the school. Just let the kids be kids up until they get out, and then they can realize life fucking sucks.
Yeah. There's it's you got to dig a little deeper, not Adam, but everybody, to understand what the underlying discussion is there.
I think there's a difference when you're dealing with minors. Again, it comes to consent laws too, because he says like minors in U.S. law cannot consent to anything. They can't sign contracts. They can't consent to a sexual situation. Is 100% no consent. So when you're putting these books in kids' hands, it's not really their choice to get to read these books or not. It's more of just the adults putting them on to the kids. So I feel like if we could just keep school as safe as possible so the adults have less weird shit to put on the kids as they're growing up, we might have more normal kids.
And there's no law that says you can't take your 8-year-old kid and sit him down in your living room and show him R-rated movies.
Exactly.
Like there's no one's going to come and arrest you for that. Like some people will call you a shitty parent. Some people will, but there's no law saying you can't do that. There's no law saying you can't. I was
playing Grand Theft Auto and Mortal Kombat with my dad growing up, like 4 years old since I could hold a controller.
Exactly. And I grew up in a household where it was like my parents didn't want me to see a PG-13 movie until my 13th birthday. Like seriously. So it was like, no, you want to see an R-rated movie? You're only 17. And it's like, I've been watching R-rated movies since I was 10 for the record, but okay, we'll keep playing this little game if you want. So, but I don't think it's that rough a spot to be like, yeah, Steve King books, they're a little rough, and especially for young minds. And if you're around any young people, you see just how
young and impressionable,
stupid and young and impressionable they are. And it's probably in the best interest to try to shelter them some from that. That doesn't seem radical to me. And if you went to the PMRC level and you got to Tipper Gore and it's like, we need to ban these albums. It's like, no one's saying that about Steve King books. I would never say that. You would never say that. We would never believe that. Like, oh, we as adults need to protect ourselves from other adults. Like, fuck off. No, it's not how it works.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same issue that's been happening in a lot of gang areas where these like 14, 15-year-olds are committing murder because they don't really have the mental wherewithal to understand the consequences of their actions. They just grew up when you have an issue, you shoot the motherfucker.
Right, sure.
And that's something you probably shouldn't be showing kids and stuff like that. If you have an issue, you rape a motherfucker, according to Stephen King.
Right, exactly. Have an orgy with all your friends. Tyreek Hill. I'd be on the cop's side if he spoke English. I couldn't understand Hose B's orders either. All right, James.
Roll down the window. Roll down the window. Roll down the window. Roll down the window.
I see what he was saying there. The Cuban cops did have a bit of a thick accent, but I think Tyreek could fucking make out what they were saying.
Looked at that.
All right. Multiple things. We'll go out on this one. Hi, Mike. Many times, long time. First, tell Garrett not to say telephone poles. Why do you say telephone poles weird?
Telephone poles.
Yeah.
I kind of fucked that one up. Telephone poles.
All right, dipshit. They're utility poles, okay, according to him.
Sorry. Utility poles.
Telephone and all other joint use come along for the ride for free. DTE and consumers pay for the poles here in Michigan. some smaller utilities too, but not the telecommunication companies. Second, it's not a good idea nor feasible to put power underground when you have peak loading. When you have peak loading, the cables / wires get hot. When you have peak loading, the wires and cables get hot. Those overhead can cool due to the air around them, but those buried have no way to cool, and the lifespan is short due to this. Underground systems have frequent outages, and the repair time is far longer than an overhead system is to repair. Yeah, bullshit. No,
I kind of get what he's saying.
I understand what he's saying too, but
I will say first,
my brother's been in Arizona 24 fucking years. He's had one power outage, and I think it was 3 hours long.
Yeah,
like no, and this is the desert.
But that's different for, I think, a place with like a lot of groundwater and seepage, like Michigan.
Maybe.
But also, I want to say
California has that too. California buries a lot of their lines.
Maybe they got different ground composition. I was gonna say that telephone, the utility pole thing, though, that's just the equivalent of gun clip versus magazine. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, exactly. We're getting in the weeds.
You know what I meant.
Third, did you kill your? And then he's got my cell number here. I've tried to text you a few times, but crickets. I hope all is well with you. Regards, Gary. No, my number's the same, Gary. I didn't know you texted me. Certainly not blowing up. People that text me that happen to randomly have my number, and they say, so I don't always respond to those, but
yeah,
it depends what you say. People send me memes and shit all the time. I don't respond to people that do that, but they're fucking
Sometimes
great.
It's just the number you haven't saved, and you're like, well, shit, I don't want to try and get involved. I don't know who you are.
And I love getting your fucking memes, man. They're great, hilarious. I almost never respond to those. So I don't know, Gary. I certainly am not avoiding you at all. So anyway, why don't we kill it there? We'll be back tomorrow. Thank you, Garrett. Hope you have a good evening. I'm going to go watch some tackle ball. Hopefully it's better than the tackle ball I watched Saturday and Sunday.